Yo! We're back. uh, Second time's the charm tonight. I swear to God, man. Spend so much money on these damn computers and this shit crashes on me. JC asked if I'm drinking already, and the answer's no. I'm not yet, but I'm grabbing the bottle in a second if this shit continues.
Should be celebrating, man.
Absolutely, dude.
Just be celebrating your winnings.
I'm stoked, man. We had a great turnout already. We have over 200 people that subscribed to the sheets already in the first day. We just launched those last night, so thank you, all of you guys that subscribed and are supporting the show. You don't know how much it means to us and how much it helps. It really does.
You really don't. I mean, this is the best way to support us right now and going forward. I mean, we really need all the support we can get so we can make this into what we want it to be. And we're just playing fantasy basketball. You know, it's a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
I had fun playing fantasy basketball, winning some money today. Turned $30 into $150. It's been a good week.
Yeah, we all took some shit down tonight. We made some great calls. I had Lou Williams, Mike had Wilson Chandler, and we talked about last night, whoever gets the picks right in this Lakers game is going to win the money. Mike did well in a GPP. I took 12th in a GPP, so everyone, at least on our side, was winning tonight. And I know we saw a lot of good winnings in the Phenom movement, so...
Yeah, a lot of good plays came out of the last night's show, I think, in my opinion. I went back and rewatched it just to see what I could pull from it. We had a lot of good calls last night.
Yo, I just want to say, real quick, I got to give this shout out. Josh, I know you're not in the chat. Josh Tannery, if you guys see him on Facebook, you'll know who he is. He's pretty active. This dude is an all-star, man, along with Mike. All right, so you guys all know the Super Bowl is being hosted in Houston this year. Josh came up with this brilliant idea. He's like, yo, I'm in Houston. Super Bowl's in Houston. How do you feel about me going to the Super Bowl site, right, offering himself? How do you feel about me going to the Super Bowl site and handing out Fantasy Phenom flyers? And I was like, what? That's a brilliant idea. I didn't even think about it, right? So then, of course, I hit up Mike because Mike has these skills. Mike makes up this awesome flyer, right? And we got it all squared away today. Josh is going to go to the site of the Super Bowl and hand out flyers for Fantasy Phenom. I cannot think of a better platform to gain notoriety for our business. I'm so humbled, man. Like, you guys are amazing. Like, the support that we've had in the community is absolutely amazing. It really is one giant ass family.
Yeah, the ideas are pumping out of this family too. Damn. Like I said, it's been 2 weeks. Ideas are just flowing. We are going to have a Fantasy Phenom flyer at the Super Bowl that just rolls off the tongue. I'm pumped about it. And I mean, who goes to the Super Bowl? People that have money. I don't go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true.
People that have money go to the Super Bowl. So people are there having a good time. The flyer screams fantasy sports, and yeah, I mean, if it reaches some cool people, we're gonna just add to our community.
Yo, that's a great idea. Wes actually is here in Sacramento. He works at a restaurant here in Sacramento. It's a sports bar. So we can do that as well, too. He's like, he can hand them out at the restaurant. That would be another great idea. I mean, honestly, any of you guys that work in an area that has a ton of people, right? Like, referrals are the best form of gratification. Or, what's what I'm looking for? I know what I'm trying to say.
Talking about, like, word of mouth?
Yeah, like, there's nothing better
best
than
form
word
of
of
advertising.
Mouth. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the most trusted form of advertising because it's coming from, obviously you're telling someone that you know, or at least people trust it more from a valid source as opposed to an advertisement on TV. So any referral you guys give us is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys are doing it anyway. I mean, if you guys are out here in the community, participating on a daily basis, I'm sure you're talking to your friends about it. And so why not, give them something that they can look at, put in their pocket, and then, when they go home, check it out later.
Yeah, so I say this all the time, but I really am humbled, man. Like, you guys are so supportive of the show, and it's amazing. And there's nothing better than coming onto the show and hearing all the news about everyone winning money. And then that Facebook page, man, literally as soon as the game ends, all of a sudden just the group is just flooded with, yo, I won money tonight. Yo, it was a good night. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, you just wait for it. If you get that itch, it gets kind of quiet, until about an hour, 30 minutes before the things end, and then people just come out of the woodwork. Yo, I'm in the top 10. I'm cashing tonight, and they start flooding down the page. It's awesome. I think I just had a great idea right here now on the show. Like you said, word of mouth advertising. You know what? Tomorrow on the Facebook page, I am going to post an ad that you can copy and paste to your Twitter, your Instagram. You could print it out and hand it to your grandma. I don't know, whatever. But I'm gonna put it in the Facebook page. You guys can copy and paste and do whatever with it. It's just gonna be like a little ad that, hey, if you want to help out, that's just one way to do so.
That's all. I like it, Mike. So, as I mentioned, we already had over 200 people subscribe to the channel, or subscribe to the spreadsheets tonight. So again, thank you guys so much for that. Again, it helps a ton. And hopefully that price that I hooked you guys up with that we're already in the group, hopefully that's very doable for you. And then for those of you that are new to the channel, if you would like to see these sheets, we are working with DraftKings projections, FanDuel projections. We have lineups, optimal lineups, defense versus position, player stats, team stats. We're trying to make this a one-stop shop for you guys. And by the way, those of you guys, I am hoping to have the DraftKings optimizer done tonight. I'm off tomorrow. I'll be up all night getting this shit done. I just have to get the coding formatted, but I'm excited. I think I have a head start on it already. So hopefully you'll get not only optimal lineups for FanDuel tomorrow, you'll get optimal lineups for DraftKings along with an optimizer for those of you guys that can use it. So I told y'all. I told y'all it was coming.
So that is coming, and the spreadsheet that's already out. If you guys are new to the show, like Howard said, we got 12 games tonight, so I'm sure we're not going to go through it all, but we went through the whole spreadsheet last night. So go back and look at our video list and click on last night's show and watch the last 10 minutes, and it explains the spreadsheets in depth. And there's even a whole video on it as well.
Yeah, there's an Excel Sheets Explained video that we have on our channel, so it tells you how to use everything.
Right, if you're thinking about it, you can check that out.
So we're going to change the format a little bit tonight. As you can see here, I'm sure you see some of the players here have multiple position eligibility. We're going to use the DraftKings sheets tonight, and we're going to break it down from a DraftKings perspective.
Wow, this is great.
So
this is right in my wheelhouse.
I mean, now that we're doing DraftKings, we got to change it up. You know what I mean? We're no longer a FanDuel show. We're no longer a FanDuel show. Right. We're a daily fantasy show.
That's right. That we are.
All right.
Hey, speaking of which, we have a contest on both sides. Let me shout out these winners real quick.
All right.
Before we get too into it, on DraftKings, I saw him in the group. Croby, CROBI 31725 with a line of 324.25. Solid line, man. Yeah, I mean, every one of his players just went off today. So I'm sure, I know I saw on the Facebook where you didn't really put it much anywhere else, but trust the process, man. One of these days it'll come. And then on FanDuel, it was J Mitch 10. He was the one that won out of the three 20-man contests, and his line was 339 on FanDuel. And I think that was his first time winning. So congrats to you, and hope to see you in the top 5 again soon.
Sorry, I'm just replying to a comment. Someone asked how they could help without
You're
Facebook
good.
or Twitter. Just spreading the word, man. Talking to people in your daily life about it. Anyone that you know has an interest in it, it's all appreciated.
Send them an email or
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, so this is going to be different for me, Mike. Obviously, DraftKings is not my forte. This is your alley, so we're gonna.
But we say it all the time. It's just difference in pricing, and so when you're evaluating the people from a cash or a tournament perspective, or if they're like considered value, that's really the only changes that come. The on-court matchups stay the same, you know.
They do. So let's start with this. I do like the sheets though. They do have it starts from the early game to late, but let's go with Atlanta and Miami. It's first game of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's break it down. Let's go guard. Actually,
Atlanta and Miami is not the first game of the day.
it's not. Oh, you know what? You're right. You're
Not
right.
by time-wise.
No, it's This is by date or
By alphabetical order.
yeah. All right, so point guards. See, this is weird to me because I got Tim Hardaway Jr. in here. This is weird. Okay, but we're gonna make it happen. Atlanta, Miami. Dennis Schroeder, Goran Dragic. I like Dragic tomorrow, although 7,400 on DraftKings, I would think is a little expensive for him.
Yeah, I like Dragic tomorrow too. I mean, when I went to narrow down point guard position today, I had like 12 people I thought were in a good spot. So, to me, when that happens, I have to look at different price ranges, and Dragic kind of fell off the board in that price range as far as point guards I'm looking at. But with DraftKings, you can roster 3 point guards, and I made a lineup with 3 point guards, and I ended up with Dragic with my last play. He was just what the money I had left, and I was like, you know what, he's in a good spot. Can't hate on Dragic. So I think that's the kind of play you're looking at with him tomorrow.
Not the best play, but he's in a good spot.
Yeah, I wouldn't lock him in right away, but if you got 7,400 left,
Yeah.
sure, why not?
Kemba Walker against Golden State tomorrow. Are we going back? I mean, not really a long travel going from Portland to Golden State. Steph Curry defense. What are we thinking?
Kemba Walker, back-to-back. So, yeah, again, I think his profile's a tournament play. Steph Curry is listed as questionable. He did not play that last game in Portland. He did practice, and I imagine he will give it a go, but it's just worth noting he's questionable. I don't know if I'm feeling Kemba over the... I like Kemba tomorrow. I just don't know if I'm feeling him over the rest. I think you really have to evaluate him based compared to everybody else on this slate as well. I mean, I could go in and say, like, all 10 of these guys are in good spots, but that doesn't really do you guys any good, you know?
Yeah. It's 12 games tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of good spots, so you kind of have to weed out. You have to weed out.
And that's what I'm saying about Dragic and Kemba. Yeah, they're in good spots, and if you have the money, yeah, sure, but I don't think I start there.
Chicago and OKC. Russell Westbrook. On DraftKings, that price is hard, 12,000, but damn, that matchup is good.
It's actually a little cheaper than he's been, to be honest with you. But I don't know, man. I think you can get away from Westbrook today. You know, you got 12 games to choose from. You have all these players. I think you can make up his value elsewhere. You know, you don't think you really have to go him if you don't want to. But again, in a good spot.
See, for me, from a FanDuel perspective, that's so much easier to roster, and I'm just like, yeah. That matchup is so good tomorrow.
No, what I'm saying is that you could break that up to two $6,000 guys. You can go I don't know, Kyrie and Brandon Jennings for the same price as Russell Westbrook.
True. Okay. I'm interested to see how high owned Rondo is tomorrow. He's had 2 good games in a row.
Yeah, I'm curious as well, because usually when someone has these 2 games in a row like this, it bumps their ownership up. So they're probably not tournament plays anymore, because their ownership's going to be high. But with Rondo, I feel like it doesn't really matter. I feel like people are just still scared to play this
Yeah,
guy.
I don't think he'll be high owned again.
4,100 is really cheap for talent that Rondo is against Russell Westbrook.
Look at his average per game, and look what he needs. He averages over what he needs for 6 times value.
Again, I still don't think you can think he's going to get that 5 times value price. I really don't think that's like I wouldn't bet on it.
It's not a lock, yeah, but it's crazy that. I mean, I could see that as like your third point guard. Maybe, forgive me if I'm not an expert on DraftKings, but from a logic standpoint, as a utility, yeah, like your last point guard, I could definitely see Rondo as that.
So yeah, with these value guys, I look at him in comparison to all the other guards on the slate. So at 4K, the other guards in that price range are Yogi Ferrell and Tim Hardaway Jr. if Cephalosha is out. Mm-hmm. I think those are the other 2 guys that you're really comparing him to for the same price.
Now, I think Yogi Ferrell gets point chased.
Yeah, so I think his ownership will be higher than Rondo, and Yogi Ferrell's 4K. So if you look at that, people will come to that price like, oh, we got 4K left for a guard. I think people are just going to immediately go Yogi Ferrell, and that's going to keep some ownership off of Rondo.
Does ownership affect if you cash or not? 100% it does. If you have a guy that's
in tournaments,
yeah. If you're in a tournament and you have a guy that does terrible and he's low owned, you screw yourself because everyone else is moving up while you're staying behind. If there's 100% ownership on LeBron James and he sits, then everybody is affected the same way.
But it goes the same way in cash games. So
it does.
Most of the times, the solid plays are going to be 70 to 80% owned in double ups. And if you don't have that guy, like say Yogi Ferrell, for example, the other day, he was 3,500 on DraftKings, and he started, and he was close to 70% owned in most of my double ups. And so if I didn't have him, I wasn't going to cash at all.
That was me. So I didn't have him, and I didn't cash.
Yeah, so if you're following the industry chalk, it's sometimes going to make you play people that you don't want to play in cash games because of the ownership. So that's kind of how ownership plays into cash games. And in tournaments, you're looking for guys that can give you the same amount for the less ownership. So you compare people that are in the same price range and say, who has the highest ceiling, who has the lowest ownership. So for those 3 guys, let's do that. So with Hardaway Jr., if he starts, Yogi Ferrell, and Rondo, who do you think has the highest upside and who do you think has the lowest ownership?
Rondo to both.
I think so too.
I think Rondo has the highest upside, and I think he's the lowest owned. I think people trust.
Yeah.
I think people trust the floor of Hardaway and more. I think he's the safest play, Hardaway, and I think Yogi Ferrell is the point chase tomorrow.
Right. So that would make. So what we're saying is that would make Rondo the best tournament play out of the 3. Now Hardaway Jr., I will say that he started. Let me find this stat. I got so much shit in front of me. So in 7 starts this season, he's averaged 35 minutes, and he's a streaky shooter. So
if he gets rolling, he's
somewhat hard to stomach. Yeah, but he's getting minutes. So if you go to the points per minute model, could be solid. Sorry, we just went way off track.
No, it's good. Indiana, Orlando. I think this could be one of my favorite game stacks tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, game stacks is a very contrarian strategy on a 12-game on a 12-game slate.
Okay,
yeah.
So I guess when I mean game stack, I'm more looking at teammate stack, I should say.
Yeah, 2-man stacks. I think him and Turner are in for a nice 2-man stack.
Yep,
both of them have.
I was looking at Teague and Turner.
Both of them have plus splits at home. Teague, 7,400. It's kind of been hovering there for a while. So you want him to get you 45 tomorrow. I didn't really look into him, but I don't see why I don't know. 45 seems doable for Teague.
45? He's 74.
Yeah, but 6 times
points.
value.
45 points. Gotcha.
Right.
I thought. Okay, got you. I was like 4,500. What the hell are you talking about, Mike?
Yeah, we just saw Ricky Rubio scored 20 points against the Magic, which he's only scored 20 points 15 times in his whole career. So, yeah, that's pretty nuts to me.
You think Elfrid Payton's a contrarian? Well, I don't want to say contrarian, but he's a good.
He'll go low on.
Yeah, I think he could be a good tournament play tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not looking at him at all, so probably.
Where we at? LA and Phoenix.
Dude, wait, before you go there, this CJ Watson guy, so he started what, 5 games without Evan Fournier, right?
Mm-hmm. Didn't do shit.
And didn't do shit, right. Then Evan Fournier comes back and plays limited minutes, and this guy has 30 plus DraftKings points. I mean, I guess if they're going to limit Fournier still, and he's going to get 30 plus minutes, I guess you could look at him on the slate. I mean, he's burned a lot of people thinking they were going to win. He was going to win the money, and
I'm gonna fade. It's a hard.
Yeah, I'm going to fade too. It was just weird to me.
Yeah, it's a hard fade for me. I love Eric Bledsoe tomorrow night.
Against Memphis? No, they're not playing Memphis.
No, they're playing the Clippers. At home.
Yeah. I like Bledsoe too. I mean, again, you got to compare them. So you got Lowry at 86 and Bledsoe at 9. I think they're both in good, both in plus matchups.
Nah, IT4 is a lockdown defender.
I wouldn't say that. I think I've proved that enough. I mean, I guess
give me Bledsoe.
The Phoenix game, it's 2.5 point spread. It opened at a 2.5 point spread and a 220 point total, so I like that. I mean, who's he going to be going up against? Ray Felton?
I agree. Eric Bledsoe. I'll take him over Kyle Lowry tomorrow. But you already know who my favorite point guard player
of the night is.
You already know who it's going to be.
Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah. And I'll play him in cash or tournament. I don't even care.
Yeah, it's getting to be that point, man. I think if you compare him with Lowry, that's what I was kind of doing. I don't know. I kind of overlooked Bledsoe, I guess. But I was comparing him to Lowry because they're playing each other. And IT has 50 plus DraftKings points in 5 of his last 6, and he has 40 plus in each of his last 10. Whereas Lowry has 50 plus in 3 of his last 4. So they're both getting there. But I still think Thomas is establishing that his floor is still safe. I mean, the dude is on another level.
Isaiah Thomas is my must play again tomorrow. You know I love targeting Kyle Lowry defense.
Yeah, he's gonna. I mean, this guy's gonna be all. Everyone's gonna have Isaiah Thomas too tomorrow. So I think Bledsoe, Lowry, Steph Curry, Kyrie, you're gonna get them at much less ownership than you think.
Here's my, and I was looking at this earlier. Here's my favorite point guard stack. Isaiah Thomas, and I know this seems point chasey, but the matchup is too good for me. Denver on a back-to-back. Give me Mike Conley tomorrow. Give me Mike Conley and Zach Randolph, or Mike Conley and Gasol tomorrow. I can stack either of those two.
Yeah, I mean, I like both of those guys as well. I mean, like I said at the top, there are so many people in good spots on this slate tomorrow that it's almost scary. Like, you could be spot on with all of your picks and still not cash. So it makes me think I want to scale back a little bit with my buy-in and really think, like, because I can make a lineup. I can make 12 lineups and be, like, confident in all of them.
In all of them, yeah. And they'll be a completely different.
That's scary to me. I don't know, Mike Conley. I guess I'm really valuing ownership tomorrow. So I think Mike Conley, coming off a career high, he might, in a good spot, he might garner more ownership than he normally would.
He will. Like I said, it'll look like point chasing to me, but I love him. I love his. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so if we had to rank the guys over 7K tomorrow, I mean,
Are you
think
talking
there's
point
10.
guards or?
Yeah, I think there's 10 point guards on DraftKings over 7K that are in good spots.
Well,
I mean, I
your
think
stars,
Isaiah Thomas
obviously.
is the number one. If you get rid of Russell Westbrook, I think Isaiah Thomas is number one. Would you agree?
Yes. And then I think Eric Bledsoe
So
is the second best.
right, so I mean, you can't really get both of them. I don't think. Someone I'm really looking at a lot tomorrow is actually Ricky Rubio.
Against Kyrie defense, yeah.
I don't know. Again, like I said, he had a 20-point game. He has two 20-point games in his last 6. He only has 15 20-point games in his whole career. Um, I looked into it a little bit more. His career assist percentage is 38.8, and in his last 10 games, it's 48.6, which is almost 10 points higher. That to me is a crazy stat because you always think of this guy as like a pass first guy. The fact that in his last 10 games, his assist percentage is close to 50% of his team's points. Like, and he's in a good matchup, with Cleveland. Doesn't feel like chalk either.
We jumped over Giannis. Are you looking at him at all?
Against Utah?
I'm
No.
not. I'm not. He just hasn't been hitting value. He's been getting in foul trouble. I just don't think Giannis is. I mean, maybe as a tournament play only, but I don't want to roster him tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't want any of Milwaukee against Utah. I could go the opposite, Utah against Milwaukee, but I don't want any Milwaukee against Utah. In Utah as well. That place is kind of scary to play.
Gobert is literally the only player. Gobert and Hayward are the only two players I would look at from that game.
Yeah, same. And I was watching the game on TNT the other day, and they had Kevin Garnett and Rasheed Wallace on, and they were talking about playing in Utah and how it's such a small arena, and the fans feel like they're on top of you, and it's just like a hard place to play, and just kind of factors into why there's such a strong defensive team.
New Orleans and Detroit, another good matchup between shitty point guards. Are you taking Drew or are you taking Reggie?
I think I go Dragic over both.
That wasn't
and Rubio. I think I like Dragic, Conley, and Rubio over both.
That wasn't the fucking question, Mike. I said out of the two.
Again, out of those two, I go Holiday.
Okay.
If I had to pick in a vacuum.
But I
guess you can evaluate things based on the different slates. There's 2 4-game slates and a 5-game slate on DraftKings if you want to do something different and not play this main slate.
New York and Brooklyn. Brandon Jennings.
Yes, I think there's some solid value here on both sides. So I looked up defensive rating for starting point guards again, and minimum 6 starts. The worst defensive rated point guard, minimum 6 starts in the NBA this year is Spencer Dinwiddie, and the second most is Brandon Jennings. So, I mean, give me some Brandon Jennings, man. His usage rate is in the low 20s when he starts, and he had a great game today. His price is still low because it's a back-to-back. Against the Nets, I think it's going to be somewhat chalk.
Okay, so we love playing. We'll get there. We're talking centers against Brooklyn. We'll get there.
Let's not do Knicks centers already, man.
That's what I was going to. You already know I was
Let's not go there already.
Okay, so Philly at Dallas. Here's my thought process here. Everyone's going to be on Yogi Ferrell. I'm going to go TJ McConnell.
Yeah, I think you can fade Yogi today. On this slate, there's just so much to go at point guard today. I mean, It's overwhelming how many point guard plays there are, and T.J. McConnell has exceeded that. It's exceeded that 6 times value time after time after time in the last 5. I think he just kind of goes unnoticed because he doesn't really have the upside. So in a tournament, when you have Brandon Jennings at 5,100, I don't see why you would go T.J. McConnell because he doesn't really have that offensive upside that Brandon Jennings does. But in a cash game, I could see it. I could see both, honestly.
That'd be interesting. You could pay up. I mean, there's a lot of stars tomorrow, so.
Yeah, you can go 3 point guards and go Isaiah Thomas, Brandon Jennings, T.J. McConnell. I would like that.
Yeah, it's doable. And then you can pay up elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so, and then Boston, Toronto. There's
We
nothing,
talked about it enough.
nothing to be said here, yeah.
Nothing more we can say.
You already know that Isaiah Thomas. And then, I mean, you can play Kyle Lowry if you want to, but you're going to be making a mistake. Play Isaiah Thomas. Just trying to help you out.
Yeah, I like them both, but Isaiah Thomas is that much better.
Kyle Lowry doesn't even get to wash Isaiah Thomas's dirty laundry. Isaiah Thomas is a Hall of Famer.
That's right. He should be an MVP, right? Should be an MVP candidate at least.
He really should be. He's literally carrying the Celtics.
So we talked about THJ. Again, if he starts, he's in play at his price.
I'll go Bazemore.
I like Bazemore too, but
Bazemore against
they're
Waiters.
both in play. I think Bazemore will probably see. Yeah, I guess he might see some Waiters. That's right. Yeah, I like both those plays.
If you had to choose, would you rather spend up for Bazemore, or do you feel confident in getting enough value from THJ?
THJ.
See, I'm going to go the opposite. I feel more confident in Bazemore tomorrow, ironically.
I just think he gets, the minutes bump is enough for me.
What about Lamar Patterson?
I've never even heard of Lamar Patterson.
Me either. He's not even on FanDuel, but I saw him on DraftKings. All right, so opposite. Dion Waiters. Holy shit, 6,800 on DraftKings?
I still think he's in play.
He is, but damn, that's steep.
Tournaments.
That's steep.
He's still a tournament play. I mean, Klay Thompson's the same price. And then you got Devin Booker, $200 more, and Zach LaVine, $200 less. All four, in my opinion, are tournament plays. So it's like, where do you go? You have to look at the matchups, I think, right?
Yeah.
So you got Devin Booker against Rivers in a close game, high point total. You got Klay against Batum. So that kind of takes me off Klay, in my opinion. Klay and Batum are somewhat wash. And then you got Waiters against Bazemore, and then LaVine against Shumpert, right?
Yes. See, I think I'm fading LaVine out of those three.
So it's between Booker, Klay, and Waiters.
I'm not even looking at Klay either.
Yeah, I think it's between Booker and Waiters for me too. If I'm paying up for a shooting guard in a tournament, it's between Booker and Waiters. I think we can agree on that.
I'm not really looking
I guess
at
Dwayne Wade. No, me neither. Back to back in this type of game, I mean, I think Klay is a good one-on-one defender, and I think coming to Golden State on a back-to-back to play that style of game is going to be rough. I will say that they played really close in Charlotte not too long ago. This game was on the 25th, and that was a wire-to-wire game, and I don't know how that factors in at all. I went back and watched it. It was a good game.
I don't think it'll be as close tomorrow in Golden State.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Neither does Vegas. 14-point spread, even with Curry as questionable.
Chicago and OKC.
I think maybe you can go Oladipo at that price. I'm not going to do it. I don't like Wade against Oladipo.
I don't either. I guess you have to look at Butler, but I would rather pay up for another star. I would rather look at a different star, I should say.
I will say once again, Butler is underpriced. I mean, he can get you 60 to 70 to 80 points, just like anybody else on the slate can. I mean, you look at the studs on the slate, he has just as good of a chance to get there. And he's the cheapest out of all of them. So in a tournament, I still like Jimmy Butler a lot. The last time these two teams played was the game he was like really sick. I don't know if you watched that game. He was like he could barely run up and down the court.
Mm-hmm. I remember. Yeah.
He only had like 1 point. So I don't really think you can take that last game's box score really into consideration at all when you look at this game. OKC on a back-to-back as well. Something else to consider.
I don't know. I don't know. My gut doesn't tell me to play Jimmy Butler tomorrow. Indiana and Orlando. If Evan Fournier plays, you got to look at him for 5K. Indiana's terrible against shooting guards.
He's still on a minute. He only played 14 minutes last game in the start, so I don't know if I'm looking at him. I know that price is really low, but
if he's not on a minutes restriction.
Yeah, I guess if Miami's like they come out and say that he's ready to play in full. I mean, they could Miami. I meant Orlando. They could very well do it anyway, with knowing their track record.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to look at J.J. Redick against Devin Booker? Go the opposite?
Yeah, I'm looking at all three of these guys tomorrow. I think, especially J.J. Redick and Jamal Crawford. I don't really see Booker and Bledsoe as elite defenders in the guard position. And I think this is a prime matchup for these shooters. I think obviously Phoenix spreads the floor, and it's like a shooter's paradise. Again, I'll keep saying it. 2.5 point total, 220 over under. I like targeting this game. So yeah, I'm all aboard Redick and Crawford in tournaments tomorrow.
Memphis and Denver. You can look at Tony Allen. I rostered him last time against Phoenix. I rostered him the other day. It was a good matchup. I think he returned 24 points.
I think the only one I'm looking at there is Gary Harris. I guess so. Yeah, I guess Tony Allen at 4,500 consistently goes overlooked.
He does. He's not going to be high owned. You can already guarantee that.
And if you compare him to the other people in that price range, he really kind of does stand out at shooting guard. But yeah, I guess Gary Harris is right there too. And we saw what he did today, given the minutes. I think if Barton is out again, or if Barton and Moutier are both out again, I think you have to look at Gary Harris.
If Will Barton's out, yes.
Yeah, I think if Will Barton and Moutier are out, I'd look at Gary Harris. If not, I think I'm going Jamal Crawford or J.J. Redick.
Milwaukee, Utah, let's just keep moving past there.
Yeah.
Minnesota, Cleveland, you mentioned Zach LaVine. I think I would rather go Shabazz Muhammad.
Yeah, I'm not going there. LaVine.
New Orleans and Detroit. KCP is a streaky player, but if he's hot, I like him tomorrow. He can get going really quickly, as we saw.
Yeah, I think that could be a right play. I mean, going up against Hield and Evans. Evans sat the first leg of the back-to-back today, so he'll be in play tomorrow. I don't know if I play him, but he'll be on the court tomorrow.
And then New York and Brooklyn. Courtney Lee's definitely in play for me. I like Courtney Lee tomorrow.
I'd like him a little bit more at a lower price, but obviously against Brooklyn. Joe Harris is probable to play tomorrow, so that kind of throws a curveball into the plans as far as minutes with Brooklyn. So just as we were getting used to Joe Harris being out, he'll be back tomorrow. I imagine I don't know, he was starting before he got hurt, so who knows what happens.
He'll probably start again. I don't know, dude. Courtney Lee. I don't think that's too high of a price for him. He's getting his minutes again, consistently.
Yeah, it's just a limited upside type of value. And then when you look again, when you put him in the same conversation as Rondo, Hardaway Jr., and Yogi Ferrell, probably goes overlooked in a good matchup.
Anyone against Brooklyn, I think you have to look.
I somewhat like Justin Holiday as a punt too at 3,200.
What have his minutes been?
I mean, they're off and on like any of the rest of the Knicks bench. Sometimes he gets 25, sometimes he gets 2. But he's shown with minutes, he gets you 30.
Yeah.
He's putting up points. He's in a great matchup.
He had 36 minutes. Well, that's inflated. It was against Atlanta. 2019, 32 before that. Yeah.
Yeah, when he gets minutes, he puts up numbers. He's definitely puts up more points per minutes than Courtney Lee, I guess is what I'm starting to say.
You're going to have to guess the minute situation.
You can't guess. You're just going to have to take a flyer, is what I was trying to say. You're just going to have to try and throw your money out there. Hope it works.
I still can't believe this. How is Baby Curry more than Wes Matthews?
It stays that way. I don't know, man. I don't see how I like Curry over Matthews in either format.
Yeah, no, give me Wes Matthews.
I know what Curry's been doing too, and that makes me even more off him because people will be like, "Oh, Baby Curry is the man now." Nah, he's really not. So
give me Wes Matthews, yeah.
Yeah.
700 cheaper, yeah, hell yeah, dude. And then
he's
Avery
still
Bradley.
Go
ahead.
He's still going back to the bench when Darren Williams comes back.
Seth Curry, yeah. Yeah, Wes Matthews ain't going to the bench. Avery Bradley might be back tomorrow.
I saw that. He's going to be on a minutes restriction, so.
I don't think you play Avery Bradley. That's not anything I'm looking at, but it makes me like Norman Powell less.
Yeah, exactly. So I think like Yogi Ferrell, he's another guy that you can kind of fade with a 12-game slate. I mean, obviously he'd be more of a solid play if it was a 6 or a 5-game slate, but on a 12-game, and if Avery Bradley is I guess if he is somewhat playing.
I mean, if he starts, automatically he's going to be matched up with Norman Powell at least at the beginning of the game, which limits his upside.
So Powell, I will say, is averaging the second most minutes on this team when he starts, behind Kyle Lowry. And he has exceeded value in every game he started this season, no matter what his price has been, he's exceeded value on DraftKings. So there is that to be said. I mean, I don't really recall any seemingly tough matchups, but there could have been. I guess Memphis, Tony Allen was a tough matchup.
Yeah, no, that is, because Tony Allen struggles against shooters, not so much drivers. Small forwards, so we already talked about Bazemore. We're not going to look at the other 8 small forwards Atlanta has. We've talked about Waiters. Ellington I don't like anymore with Tyler Johnson back.
Yeah, he's going back to the bench.
There's a rumor that Darren Williams is headed to the Cavs.
Wow. I think that's what we call hustling backward.
I think he could be a good backup.
Oh, we want to improve our team? Let's sign Darren Williams.
I think he could be a good backup. He's obviously not going to have to start and put up starter minutes.
As a Nets fan, I'm not a big fan of Darren Williams.
Why? Because he burned you?
He's just a bit of a ball hog, man. I don't know.
Darren Williams, when he was
never was a fan.
When he was on the Jazz, Darren Williams was the top 5 point guard in this game.
He was. I thought so too. But that was before all these new point guards came.
All these new ones came.
he had 1 year where he was a top 5 point guard.
I'll give him more than 1 year, but that's okay. We can debate that another day. MKG against Durant.
Durant.
Okay, that wasn't the question, asshole.
I like Durant tomorrow.
I don't know how much I like Durant tomorrow.
I especially like Durant tomorrow if Steph Curry doesn't play.
If he doesn't play, yes.
I think he goes from he had 37 last time these two teams played. Durant.
I think I'd rather target more mid-range guys tonight. I don't know. I feel like when I'm looking at, I'm seeing myself going a lot more balanced tonight. So I'm spending up at Isaiah Thomas, at least when I'm looking at a DraftKings perspective. And then I love Gordon Hayward. Paul George is in a good matchup, and he's been hot. So
I will say we are definitely thinking alike. I made a cash lineup and 4 tournament lineups before I came on the show, and so I did in my cash lineup. I went Isaiah Thomas, and then pretty much everybody else is either 5,000 or 6,000. Went super balanced. I do like Durant though. I think if I'm spending up at small forward, I do Durant over LeBron
I agree
and
with that.
Butler.
No one from this Chicago OKC game, obviously, other than Butler. I mentioned Paul George. I like him. He's been hot. I think he's in a good matchup against Orlando.
Yeah, we just saw Wiggins put up 40 plus fantasy points against Orlando.
Orlando's not very good. You know who else? Now that you mentioned that, I don't know how this slipped my mind. Wiggins in Cleveland.
Could be a good play.
He got drafted by them and traded.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, I'm
I
going
thought
Wiggins.
about it too.
I'm going Wiggins tomorrow. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's Wiggins in that price range. It's Wiggins, Melo, and Hayward, all in good spots.
See, on FanDuel, I would go Wiggins and Hayward.
Yeah, I'd like Hayward's tough to pass up on DraftKings at 6,600. That's really cheap for him. I haven't seen that cheap in a while.
You think he's chalky tomorrow?
I never think Utah players are chalky, man. I don't think anybody's going to be super chalky tomorrow on the 12-game slate.
I just feel like he has such a good matchup.
He does.
I love targeting Milwaukee Wings.
Mm-hmm. I think he's a safe bet for 40 tomorrow.
So yeah, Gordon Hayward right there, 6,600. I'm not gonna look at Jabari tomorrow.
Nope.
LeBron James, LeBron James has a good matchup, but 10-2, that's a little too much for me. Like I said, I'd rather go Isaiah Thomas and then go more balanced and go Wiggins and Hayward tomorrow.
Right, yeah. So LeBron, he averages 53.4 DraftKings points in 6 games without Kevin Love. So if you look at 5 times value for LeBron, that would be hitting 5 times value. I think that's probably a safe bet. Without Kevin Love, I think it's a safe bet to get to 50 for LeBron. But on a 12-game slate, I want 70 from LeBron. You know?
Yeah, the cash line's
if he's taking
10,
if he's taking 10K from me tomorrow, I want 70. And I could see KD and Jimmy Butler getting me 70 over LeBron.
Cash line is going to be so
Might be a
high
bold
tomorrow.
call, but
You're going to see the perfect lineup being over probably at or around 400 tomorrow.
yeah, again, I caution playing heavy tomorrow. And like I said, DraftKings has 2 4-games and a 5-game slate.
That's where I would target. I'm breaking down the slate tomorrow on FanDuel as well.
I think you got to. You got to be smart tomorrow and don't jump in those waters on a 12-game slate.
I ain't scared of no sharks, but I'll swim with the sharks. I just won't go ahead.
Oh,
yeah. Mentioned Wiggins.
Melo at 7,500, man, against Brooklyn.
I was just going to say, no one from that New Orleans-Detroit game interests me, but Melo definitely against Brooklyn.
Yeah, no one.
Doesn't he? He loves playing in Brooklyn, doesn't he?
don't know. I feel like nothing phases Carmelo Anthony. You know, he seems very emotionless. He seems like just like a consummate professional. You know.
Or he's a
So
businessman. He got paid and he
yeah,
doesn't care.
he's just out there doing his business. It's a price thing. It's 7,500 in a good matchup. I think
Okay, so where are you going, Wiggins or
45.
Wiggins or
I
Anthony?
go Melo. I'm going Melo over Wiggins.
That's tough for me. See, I don't.
Um,
Can you roster 3 small forwards?
absolutely, especially Carmelo is a power forward eligible, so you can go Wiggins, Melo, and Hayward if you wanted to tomorrow.
I would consider that, honestly. I really would.
I've learned that going multiple point guards and multiple centers is a solid strategy, but again, strategy kind of goes out the window on a 12-game slate. But on DraftKings, it seems like they're pricing favors centers and point guards more with double bonuses and only half-point turnover minuses and 3-point pluses. So it seems like point guards and centers are favored more. But yeah, Melo's in a good spot. I don't know what else there's to say, especially if Porzingis doesn't play tomorrow. He's still questionable.
I'm not really looking at Covington tomorrow. Not against Wes Matthews.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about Covington. I mean, dude is just crazy going off right now. He's got, what, 2 50-point DraftKings games on the back-to-back?
Were they back to back?
Yeah, he had a 49 and a 55-point fantasy game on the back-to-back. Doubled in both games. And he's averaging over 2 steals in each of his... He has 2+ steals in each of his last 5 games. And that's always been his game, you know? So he's kind of on one right now. I mean, it seems like he probably has somewhat of a size mismatch with Wes. No Embiid tomorrow. I think you look at him. I think
Yeah,
obviously
okay.
it's him and
have
Jay
to.
Crowder. Him and Jay Crowder and
Hayward.
Hayward are all right there in the same price. I guess Harrison Barnes too, but I'm not looking at Harrison Barnes.
Nah, I'm good there. But
We already talked about Powell.
that does make me look at Dirk.
Yeah, I'm looking at Dirk tomorrow, definitely.
Millsap against Miami.
I'm not in love with it.
It's a great matchup for him. Great matchup.
I'm still not in love with that.
What about James Johnson coming off the bench?
I like James Johnson. Babbitt hurt his shoulder in the Nets game. He had to leave. He didn't play after he hurt his shoulder, and he's the guy that's kind of getting that ceremonial starter. He only plays like 15 minutes. But if he's out, I mean, I imagine they'll give it up to James Johnson. I don't think they start him. I think they like him coming off the bench, and we see like Derek Williams.
Yeah, he'll just pick up more minutes as usual.
Yeah, he'll pick up more minutes, and we'll see Derek Williams or Okara White get the start, in my opinion.
Why is Chris Bosh still on there?
I don't know, man. No idea.
Draymond Green's in a really good matchup tomorrow.
I thought so too. So, like I said, I went back and watched this game, the Hornets Golden State game, just to see what they did, because Cody Zeller was out in that game as well. And I wanted to see who they had Hawes on, as to if I thought Hawes was in a good spot. And they were playing, so 20 out of the 26 minutes that Hawes played, they had James Michael McAdoo on him. Very strange, in my opinion. Maybe they saw something they liked in that. I mean, Zaza is questionable to play tomorrow. And so immediately when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's going to be more minutes for Draymond, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe after watching that game, they do that thing with McAdoo again. I mean, I still think that Draymond's in a great matchup. I just thought that was an interesting thing to take note of.
I like Draymond a lot tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's in a good spot. I think I'd rather play him over Millsap.
I agree with that. Chicago OKC.
Let me touch on OKC. So, again, I'm going to continue to follow this trend. Today, Sabonis had 30-plus minutes for the first time he's had in a long, long time. They actually played 6 guys 30-plus minutes, and the rest didn't hit 20. So perhaps we're seeing a new trend with them giving Sabonis extra run at power forward
I think
without Cantor.
there's two really intriguing teams that we're following. That's the Thunder and the Knicks.
Right. So the Knicks, Thunder without Cantor, something's got to give. Someone's getting his production on this team, and so that's what we're trying to figure out. Obviously, we thought Laverne would be an obvious pick on that second team to get increased production, but if they're going to start playing Sabonis from 20 to 24 to 28 to 32, I don't know. Maybe he can kind of come into his own. Something to look at, I think.
Do you still think Cameron Payne is the best beneficiary from that?
Again, it's yet to be seen. He's exceeded value in 2 of the 3 games, so
I just think that Cantor wasn't a ball handler by any means, but he was almost the default option on that second team, and so you have to look at more at scoring options as opposed to minutes, right? You can throw a body out there, but to me, I think Cameron Artis-Payne, which it kind of sucks because he's in a bad position being a point guard, right? Like that's not typically where you want to play a guy that is a backup.
I guess especially when Russell Westbrook is there.
Yeah, it's not an ideal situation to have him
No, I
be the
agree.
beneficiary, but
And I can tell by following this team over the last 3 games that it seems that Billy Donovan doesn't really know where he's going right now either, as far as minutes distribution.
Cantor was such a lock for Billy Donovan. He's such a safety valve that I think he's kind of confused as to what to do as well.
Exactly. So there's definitely some value without Cantor. It's just
Where is it?
does it go amongst the starters, or do they just get away from their second team and start playing sort of Minnesota Washington style with really no second team and just kind of going back to traditional big minutes, which I could see them doing. I could see them going to like an 8-man rotation and playing their starters big minutes going forward.
Could see that.
Which would give a bump to Adams to me.
I love Adams without Cantor.
What about tonight? I guess we're not there yet, but
Against Chicago, yeah.
right. Yeah, I like it. I think I like it too.
I think I'm going to fade both Ibaka and Thad Young.
I like Ibaka over Thad Young, but only in tournaments. He shows 50-point upside, but he also has like a floor of 15.
LA and Phoenix. Blake Griffin is in man. He's in a really good spot.
A lot of good plays in this game.
Really good spot.
A lot of good plays in this game, man. I think power forward's going to be the trickiest one to pin down today, too.
Mike, someone just asked, what time does the group chat start during the day? So, the group chat, we have the Facebook group. That chat is all day long. I mean, that's Facebook. You can post in there whenever. The pre-lock show starts about 30 minutes before lock.
It depends. So tomorrow I'll probably start 45 minutes before just because there's so many players. But I'll jump on there early if the injury news is kind of falling all over the place. And that's the main point of the lock show, is to try and explain to you guys how I feel minutes will be distributed, given injuries, and who then, from a price standpoint, stands to benefit.
Yeah, and Mike pretty much, it's a great team because Mike will handle the talking part while I'm in the background. I'm crunching out these sheets, right? So I can't do both. I can't sit on a show and do the spreadsheets, but while Mike's talking about all the injury news, I'm taking it in and I'm updating the projections and the optimals. That's why I can't wait for the site to start, because once the site is up, man, I just have to update it and everyone can see it. I don't have to send out spreadsheets, but we're making it work for the time being.
Yeah, what Kyle's doing is taking people out of even consideration that have been ruled out and then bumping people's minutes up so that we can rerun what we feel like. We can rerun all the numbers and then it pumps out new optimal lineups based on different minutes,
Exactly.
projections.
And again,
So
the
it all is coming out
optimals.
real time, like right before lock comes out.
And
So it's
again, the
important to be in the group.
yeah, and again, the optimals are very much a. In my opinion, I think they're a good starting point. And here's the reason I say that. One, okay, well, let me say this as well. One, they're amazing on the late slate. For whatever reason, I don't know, because on the Express they haven't done so well. But on the late slate, for whatever reason, they seem to cash. They're amazing in double ups. I think I have the highest percentage of winnings in my late slate double ups with the optimals. However, that doesn't mean you take them verbatim. For example, I told you guys that Lou Williams was a lock for me. He was going to be in every lineup I did. So, the optimals, if you saw them today, didn't have Lou Williams in all of them. He was actually only returned in one of the optimals. So I just flipped him. I was like, you know what? He is someone that regardless of what the projections say, I am high on Lou Williams. And I put him in the lineup. And then the rest of the optimals worked out. I scored a 312 in the late slate, and it was good for 12th in a GPP. So use it as, and again, and just to explain for those of you guys that see it, on the left-hand side is the projections, right? So I have three different slates. You have projections, ceiling, and floor. On the left hand are the 5 based on projection. In the middle are the 5 based on ceiling, and on the right are the 5 based on floor. And typically for GPP, you're going to want to look at the ones in the middle because you're looking at high ceilings. You're not looking at projections. And so that's typically where I go and I'll look and I'll see, okay, what players are returning in every single lineup. Those are locks for me, right? And to also piggyback off that, I also, before I even run optimals, I look, and so you can do this before you even open them, is I look at the slate and I say, these are guys I'm locking in my lineup, right? And when the optimal runs them back, it just further validates. So I told myself on the lock slate, or the late slate, Dame and Kemba were my 2 locks at point guard. There was no question about that. Now, I was wrong. I should have played D'Angelo Russell, but point being, right, I have my locked players, and I usually try and get 5 or 6 in FanDuel. 5 or 6 in FanDuel that I want to start every lineup with. On DraftKings, what, you usually look at 5, Mike?
What, locks?
Yeah, like players that you're locking in before you kind of fit in the other guys.
Depends, man. I like to look at least 2 higher price guys and 2 lower price guys that I really like and fit around there. In cash, I kind of do it position by position. Like, who do I think profiles as the best cash in point guard and shooting guard. And if there's someone like today, for example, at power forward, I don't really feel like there's anybody that's an elite cash gameplay, so I'll just leave that one out. I just kind of go slate by slate. I tend to go in to the sheets and fade people that I don't want to show up at all in the optimals, and then I'll look at, like I said, at 2 higher price guys that I like and 2 lower price guys that I like. Lock those in, see what comes out. If I don't like the lineup, I go back and I change it some. I pick maybe just 1 of each, or I pick 2 of this and 1 of the other one. I really just kind of mess with it. I don't have an overall strategy that I could write out to you.
Yeah, dude, if you guys have a computer with Excel, that optimizer tool is so clutch. I'm telling you. It'll put you on plays that you never thought of. So what I do, and what Mike was saying, is he'll go through the entire list, right? So let me show you an example here. This doesn't have any players on it, but let's just say you have all these players right here. He'll go through and position by position. Or player by player fade. Like, I don't want him, I don't want him, I don't want him. And with that, it won't return to them on the optimals at all. And then what it does is it basically narrows down your player pool. And personally, what I do is I go in and I actually do the opposite. So you can choose your strategy. I go through and I'm like, okay, lock, lock, lock. And I pick 5 or 6 guys. And then I tell Excel, out of all the remaining guys in that player or in that list. Give me 5 lineups. And it's surprising. It'll put me on guys that I didn't even think of. A lot of value plays that come out of that I didn't think of. So
Yeah, that is true. I mean, to me, like I watch a hell of a lot of basketball. Like I follow all these teams pretty closely. So maybe I guess if you aren't as confident in that, it probably is a better strategy to see what the
comes back.
projections are come back to.
No, there's a lot of strategies, and again, it's all at your disposal. If you have a computer with Excel or Mac with 2016 Excel is what I've heard. I don't have a Mac, so I can't vouch for it. But users that have it say that's the criteria you need. It's an amazing tool. But I will say, don't go out and buy it if you don't have a use for it outside of this, because the website is coming. And I don't want you to spend $100 on Microsoft
Yeah,
Office just to do it.
yeah. But if you get paid in the subscription, you get put into
The email
the
list.
Fantasy Phenom Pro Facebook group. You could always go in there and ask someone to run you a lineup or something, right?
Yeah, that's true as well. So with the subscription, you get access to the closed group that is just for subscribers. And the reason we created that is for people that obviously, people love to talk about the optimals and who they like and whatnot. And I didn't feel like it was a good idea to have that being shared in the free group because that disincentivizes. But at the same time, it almost punishes people from being able to post it. So I kind of went the other way. So the other group is still free, and we're active in it. Don't get me wrong. There is nothing bad about the free group. It's just the pro group is more so for the subscribers that want to talk about optimals.
Exactly. Very well said.
Uh, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, Bonnell. The link for that Facebook group is in an email. So check your email earlier. I sent it out if you're part of the subscription group, or just go to the Google group itself. There's a link in there. Just join it from there.
Yeah, check your emails, guys. I know I'm a victim of it as well, but
And with that said, let me say that I know there have been oftentimes that the emails we send out will go to spam. So please check your spam.
there you go.
Please
That
check your
too.
spam and remove my email from your spam so it doesn't go there. All right, so back to
I think we're
this.
done. I think we're done. Power forward, right?
Well, we were on Blake Griffin, but we liked him. I love Zach Randolph tomorrow against Denver.
I don't love it. I'm on board, but I don't love it. Same with Wilson Chandler. I'm on board, but I don't love it.
I love Zach Randolph.
I'd rather go James Johnson for $200 cheaper.
That's tough for I'm gonna go with my gut here. I'm gonna go Randolph.
Now, so Kevin Love's out. We saw good old Dick Jefferson, aka Snapchatter of the Year, start. You think I'm joking? Look it up.
I know. I know.
So yeah, he started and got 24 minutes and put up, get this, 18 DraftKings points. I know, crazy. Chenny Fry got 19 minutes and put up 26 DraftKings points. So now you know.
That's funny. Dick Jefferson. Dick Jefferson. Nice. You fuck. Karl Anthony Towns, you can play him at power forward. Would you do that tomorrow?
I do it all the time. Yes, I think you can. It gives you a way to get 3 centers. Same with Boogie Cousins. He's power forward eligible. Obviously, he's not in the slate, but so Towns. I mean, what can you say about Towns? I mean, 7 straight double doubles. 3 of those double doubles had 5+ assists, and another 3 of them had 4+ blocks. I like Rubio and Towns in tournaments tomorrow. I'm doing it in at least one line.
What about Tobias Harris against New Orleans? I think
We
that'll
didn't
be
talk about Tobias Harris, but his price is really low.
It is.
40, 50, 5,400, man.
That's where I'm looking. Yeah.
I definitely think you can go there. Definitely. I don't know what his ceiling really is. I think you might be able to find some higher ceiling, but I mean, maybe not at that price. I think if you look at
I
that
just like
price
the play a
overall,
lot. I do.
would you go Dirk at $5,000 over Tobias Harris? Because that's what I think I'm going to do.
Yes, I would.
I think Dirk has a higher upside than Tobias Harris, and he's in a better matchup. I also somewhat like Trevor Booker as a tournament play against the Knicks at 4,400. That's really cheap for him as well.
Has he been getting his minutes back?
He played high 20s last game, and in a matchup with James Johnson, I think he got close to 30, if I'm not mistaken.
When Trevor Booker plays, man, he'll get his points. I mean, you see here he averages higher than what he needs for 6 times tomorrow. It's just a matter of his minutes.
Yeah, so he started the game against Miami. He played 26 minutes, took 9 shots, 13 and 8, and had 27 DraftKings points at 4,500. So at 4,400, if he gets me 27 again, I'm happy.
Yeah. And then Dirk, obviously against Philly, we both like that.
Yes, I like that a lot. Especially no Embiid. Their defensive rating drops significantly.
Give me Ilyasova over Noel tomorrow. You know what?
I might go.
Let me take that back. Give me Noel over Ilyasova going up against Dirk.
I might go Okafor over both if he starts.
Against Dirk, yeah.
Give me the price.
Give me the starting center for Philly tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And if Okafor starts at 4,600, that's.
Okafor has upside. He has upside.
I guess he does upside.
We've seen 30-point games from him.
So I think you can go both. You can go both Dirk and Okafor tomorrow. Dude, I think Dirk is such a good play tomorrow at 5,000. So he has exceeded 5 times value in 10 of his last 12 games based on salary. And the 2 games that he didn't were the second night of back-to-backs, which makes sense because it was Dirk, you know. So other than the second night of back-to-backs, he gets value. I don't know what his upside is. I think Okafor might have more upside than Dirk.
He definitely does. He'll get more minutes. Well, actually, I don't know if he'll get
more minutes.
But
if you're betting on 5 times or 6 times value, I think at $5K, Dirk's too cheap.
Dirk can get 25 points, 30 points easy.
Yeah, for sure. Especially against Philly.
Center. Dwight Howard. Hassan Whiteside.
A lot of centers in play. Similar to point guard. A lot of centers in play. You're going to have to narrow it down. To me, it's Drummond or Gasol. Okay, so Howard over Whiteside, right? Would you agree?
Yes.
They're the same price. And then Drummond and Gasol are the same price.
Memphis is playing Denver. Gasol.
Memphis is playing Denver.
Not even a question for me, Gasol.
Drummond is playing New Orleans.
I like Gasol's usage in his offense more. I can trust Gasol. Gasol is a much safer play.
Yeah.
I know Gasol
I don't think you're getting
involved.
You're not getting 60 out of Drummond tomorrow like you did against Boston. Mm-mm. And I think there's going to be a lot of people on him. So being that they're the same price, Drummond and Gasol.
I think you have to go Gasol.
I think I go Gasol as well. Here's another one. They're the same price. Brook Lopez against the Knicks and Rudy Gobert against the Bucks.
Oh. Brook Lopez. He does more.
I think I go Gobert. We've seen 60 from Gobert.
I trust. I trust Lopez more.
Again, both in good spots, both the same price. So I like targeting players at the same position that are the same price, or that have someone that's in play at the same price, because you in tournaments you just go which one you feel is going to be less owned because they're both in good matchups, right?
Mm-hmm.
People have to pick between the two. Generally, they're not going to pay for both, being at the same price. So that's something I look for a lot in tournaments. So, like I said, we said Drummond and Gasol the same price, Whiteside and Howard the same price, Lopez and Gobert the same price. In tournaments, I think you just pick whichever one you feel is going to be less owned, being that they're all in good spots. Here's another one: Steven Adams and Jonas Valanciunas, also both in good spots, same price.
Steven Adams.
I think I'm going JV against Boston.
He had a good game against him last time, didn't he?
Yeah, he had I got it here somewhere. 18 points and 23 rebounds with 11 offensive rebounds in 28 minutes. And I think JV's somewhat filling the rebounding void. I mean, you don't really think that DeRozan's a good rebounder, but he's the 5th best rebounding shooting guard in the NBA. That, to me, surprised me when I saw that stat today. Because I always think, DeRozan, all he does is score, but he's actually the 5th best rebounding shooting guard in the NBA. So, I mean, I think there's that void to fill. Where his 6 or 7 rebounds a game are going, and this game against Boston, I like JV tomorrow at 5,400 over Adams at 5,400. I said,
I'll go Adams.
But like I said, I think everybody else will too. So in tournaments, you go with Adams because he's going to be less owned in a good spot.
I'm not really looking at DeAndre Jordan. I love Miles Turner tomorrow.
Yeah, so Turner's going to fall in between everybody. And I like playing him at home.
Him and Teague, that's a good stack right there.
Yeah, I think it's a good stack for sure. No, I got nothing wrong with that.
He might end up being my go-to center tomorrow. Him or Gasol, I can just preliminary. Him or Gasol, I think are going to be the two I look at. Oh, someone wants to know what the Hassan Lopez law is. So let's talk about that.
Shout out to Ariston.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
He created that law, but basically it's play any center versus Hassan Whiteside or Brook Lopez, because Brook Lopez doesn't play down low, so he doesn't get rebounds, and he doesn't play defense. And then Hassan Whiteside doesn't play defense either. So both centers eat against both of them. And you'll see it in the DVP here. Nets, and then the Heat are a little flawed because Hassan Whiteside was out for a couple games, but they're still pretty bad up here.
Yeah, so we're giving some rationale. I know Ariston doesn't really do rationale. He just more states law and leaves it at that.
It works for him though. It does.
Yeah, props to that. No, I respect it.
Are we looking at? I don't know if there's any other centers I'm looking at.
Man, I think I can. Like we talked about Okafor, we talked about Towns. We've talked about everybody else I'm looking at. We got to go to the New York thing, though. Ready to do this?
Yeah, let's do it. Talk about your New York findings. You've been watching it closer than I have.
Oh, hell no. I've not been watching it. I've just been paying attention to...
You've been noticing.
Yeah, I've been paying... Again, so... Whoever plays the most minutes... No, whoever plays the least amount of minutes at center for the Knicks in the previous game probably is going to play the most minutes at center the next game. So we saw Hernan Gomez start for the Nets or the Knicks today. I don't know. I do think that if Porzingis is out again, I can see them starting Hernan Gomez again. And if they do that, then he's in play. But obviously still a tournament play. For some reason, I'm having this gut feeling that Noah's going to be the guy tomorrow. But I have no idea, man. They're all like under 4K. One of these three guys is going to win somebody money today.
I think here's what you do. If you have the money to create 3 lineups,
you make one of each.
Yeah. Put put one of
That's
each in.
actually not a bad strategy, dude. Because they're all like this. They're all the same price.
They are. So that's what I'm
So
saying.
as long as you make the same lineups with like enough wiggle room to get Hernan Gomez, I think he's the highest priced guy. What is he? Go back to the prices. I think Hernan Gomez is the highest.
39.
39. Yeah, as long as you have enough wiggle room to get to Hernan Gomez, you can do that. You can make one with O'Quinn, one with Noah, one with Hernan Gomez. That way you'll properly be following the Hassan Lopez law.
Telling you, I don't think that's a bad law. You know what's gonna fucking make me laugh is if Plumlee scores the most points.
Yeah, start Marshall. Oh my god, that would truly be what happens too.
It wouldn't surprise me, honestly. Nothing surprises me anymore with the Knicks.
Oh man, that's pretty funny.
Mike, have you ever had Buffalo Trace before?
Buffalo Trace?
Trace. It's a whiskey. It's a bourbon.
I have not. No.
It's amazing. You should
Is that
try
what
it.
you got?
No, but someone just mentioned it in the chat.
I got some Wild Turkey.
Fuck
I
Wild
like
Turkey,
Bullet Bourbon
man.
a lot. I like Bullet Bourbon a lot too.
You need to get some Basil Hayden or.
Yeah, but I'm not like going. I'm not shelling out that much money. Basil Hayden's like the price of 2 bottles of Wild Turkey.
Yeah, Basil Hayden's like a $50 bottle.
Yeah, for real.
But
maybe tonight, after winning some money, I can go out and get me some basil.
The problem is you drink it by the bottle, not by the glass. Basil Hayden is meant to be sipped, not chugged.
You think I'm chugging whiskey over here?
I've seen you pour that Wild Turkey, Mike.
All right, Mom.
Shit. Well, shit. All right, guys.
So,
go ahead.
Wait, hold on. I want to get your opinion on something.
Okay.
I guess we can do this after the show. Never mind.
All right. So, again, thank you guys for tuning in. Expect the spreadsheets a little later. I know it's already 2 a.m. here, but expect them in a little bit. I am going to try and knock out this optimizer for DraftKings. So, if I can do that in the next couple hours, you will get it. Otherwise, I'll probably take a nap, come back, and I'll probably try and get it out by the time we get updated sheets today. So, my goal is to have it done by the end of the day. I'm determined to get that shit done. So, stay tuned.
Yeah, so there's some stuff coming. I know Kyle and I are going to work a little bit. We're going to be working a lot tomorrow on this stuff since we're both off, which doesn't happen very often. We also talked a little bit about possibly doing morning shows on days that we,
both are off.
Or both need some sleep or something. That we're both off. So, give us your thoughts on us doing that.
Yeah, we're
for those
looking
of you
at
that aren't live here and wanna leave us some feedback after you watch the show tomorrow.
Yeah, we're looking at probably 12 p.m. Eastern time, live or a live show.
Yeah, something like that. So just give us some feedback on what you guys think, and we will take that
and run with it.
And run with that.
As always, make sure you're following these sites right here. These are our social media sites. Make sure you're on that, of course. And last but not least, make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, please. It helps us a ton. I promise it really does. And then, if you're interested in the spreadsheets, again, it has DraftKings projections, FanDuel projections. We already have optimal lineups for FanDuel. DraftKings are coming. Hopefully by the end of today, like I said. Hopefully, shit, in the next couple hours. And then team stats, player stats, everything you need. So, sign up. The link is in the description. You get a free 7-day trial. You can cancel at any time, no charge. So you're going to get a week to see if you like it. If you don't, fair enough. But I'm pretty confident that you will. So I give that trial out, and then after that, it's $9.99 a month. So that is.
Yeah, and if we didn't answer your questions, and you still have questions about what that offers, or anything at all, and you want to message us or email us, please do. We'd be happy to answer your questions.
Yeah, you can email us. You can send a message to my personal Facebook. It's up there. Or it's if you join the group, you'll see my personal Facebook in there. I talk on there all the time, so feel free to hit me up there, and we'll make sure to take care of you guys. And if you sign up and you have questions still, like how do I run this, things like that, I'm more than happy to sit down. I'm sitting down with a couple guys tomorrow actually. We're gonna go through lineup construction, so I'm all for sitting down and having a conversation. And I'm about to phone up these guys tomorrow and just we're gonna sit down and talk about lineup construction. So I'm here for you guys. I really am.
And I do. I make all my lineups on DraftKings too, so I probably need to get on that conference call with FanDuel. But same, if you want to look at DraftKings lineup construction, I've been doing it for a couple of years now, and I think at least I got a system down.
Yeah, bankroll management, all that. If you guys have any questions, we're here to help you guys play against the Sharks and not get destroyed. So, we have a lot of knowledge and tools in this. There's a lot of good guys in that Facebook group. If you guys have any questions, like I said, feel free to hit us up. And on days that I'm off or I have free time, I'm more than happy to sit down and have a conversation. So, we're at your disposal. Take the knowledge and then apply it to how you want, and go from there. Again, last but not least, make sure you check your spam filter if you're on the email list. Again, sometimes they go there. So I think that's it, though. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a wonderful night. Again, thank you. I know it's almost morning time to get up for work where you guys are at, but have a wonderful night, and we'll talk to you soon.